Hey, what's up, guys? Finally here, finally here. Thank you for being patient. All my moderators, okay, Nana, Al Sanariga, Steve Riley. Thank you for being here, guys. Early, bright and early. I know you guys been waiting for about a good 15 minutes, but yeah, we're here. Uh, Dark Waters had to check his audio for a few minutes, and we finally got it going good, and everything's sounding good, so we're good. And I got him backstage. I'm fixing to bring him on. I just wanted to say to all the people in the group and all the people that watch my channel, thank you very much, guys. We finally made it to 1,000 subscribers, and this is like I had promised y'all. I was gonna have somebody with a big name that I admire, and he, I like the way he does his things and the way he runs his channel, and he's a great narrator. He actually had me on his podcast not too long ago, about 3 months ago, and the guy that I'm talking about is Dark Waters. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited about tonight, man. So I saved him for last of this year. You know what I'm saying? I saved the best for last. I wanted to go out with a big bang, before the end of the year, and yeah, so like I said, I promised y'all a good show for the 1,000 subscribers appreciation show, basically. So yeah, I got Dark Waters, man. I talked to Wes, which is his right hand man. I asked him see if he could come on here, talk to him. He said, yeah, okay. We got the date going, and we're finally here, guys. And yeah, man, thank you everybody that made it possible to reach 1,000, the first 1,000 subscribers. And I'm hoping it's going to do a lot better this new year, 2024. Oh, by the way, Merry Christmas to everybody, because I didn't do a show around Christmas time. So Merry belated Christmas, everybody. And Happy New Year. Before I forget, if the show, because the show's not going to be that long today. Dark Waters only has so much time, and which I appreciate. Him coming on my podcast and giving us his time. So he's gonna be here for about an hour, and that's it, guys. So thank you everybody that showed up, and it's gonna show up here in a little bit once we get started. And like I said, Dark Waters is yeah, he's a little what is it called? Damn, I can't remember the word right now, but I'll get to that later. But anyway, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Thank you everybody that showed up, and thank you for everybody that helped the group. And hopefully we can do a lot better in 2004, guys. I heard the first 1,000 is the hardest to reach, so yeah, I think we should be good in 2024. And another thing, guys, Darkwater really doesn't do podcast shows, man. I've only seen him in a couple, so I'm thinking, he has a reason for that. I guess he really has to trust the person that he's going to be on the podcast with, and which is pretty much exclusiveness is the way I see it. So that's pretty good, because I haven't seen him really, maybe one or two other shows, but yeah. So we got him here tonight, guys, and get your questions ready. Put them in all caps. Everything we talk about, and y'all want to ask questions, go ahead and put them all caps. We're not going to wait to the end, because then that would take too long. We're going to go as we go through the show, okay? All right, so now let me get the man of the year on this stage, man. Hey, what's going on, Dark Waters?
What's up, brother Carlito? How you feeling, man?
Doing all right, brother. I'm excited, man, and I want to thank you for being with us tonight, man. I want to thank you very much.
Nah, man, congratulations on hitting 1,000, and
Thank you,
hopefully
bro.
it'll grow quick. We're in
Yeah.
a different time on YouTube than when I started. YouTube has a lot of things they put in place to make you grow really, really fast if you know what you're doing. So,
Yes,
um,
I saw that. I saw that on your channel, and I remember you speaking about it one time. You said that
hmm
the YouTube Shorts is what helps you out a lot right now to like kind of grow your channel better, right?
yep.
Well, that's one of the things. So I'm like, man, I need to start doing some YouTube Shorts.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, they're competing against TikTok and against Instagram and against everybody else. And so, if you got the right formula, bro, you'll grow. It's unfortunate, like people get it misconstrued. There's
yeah.
4 billion views that go through the YouTube system every day. So 4 billion views are generated on YouTube every day. And
Wow.
so if you just take the time to study and learn, man, you can blow up really quickly. And just, it's working on your product, working on your craft, figuring out, what your show is going to be, how to make sure that your show appeals to the wider audience, and then
Right.
reinventing yourself and not being afraid to do something new. And so, bro, if
Right.
you do that, man, I mean, you're going to grow. Don't
Right.
don't do like everybody else does. They get caught up in the politics of the cryptic community,
Yeah.
and then they don't go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? They don't grow at all. So
Yeah. Yeah.
if I'm you, bro, I'm spending a significant amount of time studying what makes channels work and what makes them grow. And bro, you'll blow up. You'll blow up like nobody else, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, I wish I had your what is it called? Narrating abilities, man. Goddamn. Like you get people in the damn like it's a movie, bro. When I listen to your podcast and listen to the ones you talk about, the ones you narrate,
Hmm.
I get in there and I'm picturing everything, bro. Like if I was there, I'm picturing the woods. I'm picturing the railroad track. I'm picturing the train coming. I'm picturing a full moon up in the night sky. I'm picturing everything, bro. It's like That's how well you portray your stories and your encounters. Like you know what I mean? Because I know you narrate them. I know people send them to you. I know that. But the way you tell them is like that's what really gets you in there. You know what I mean? And that has a lot to do with it. You know what I mean?
Well, I focus on the person as opposed to the monster. And at the end of the day, if we can only relate to an individual, like we can't really relate to Bigfoot, we can't relate to Dogman. We can relate to Carlito and how he lives, what he likes to cook, the problems that he has in his life, the challenges that he has, and
Right.
then everything else is gently woven around that person, that individual, and what's going on in their life. And it equals into a phenomenal encounter. But also, I'm very selective about the encounters. Like we've gotten to this point now where there's a demand for me to do like a lot more encounters. But the truth of the matter is, if I lower my standards, you'll notice it in the content. And I refuse to do it. So I'll get 15, 20 calls a week. And out of
Wow.
those 15, 20 calls a week, man, I may only get to 5 or 6 of them. Out of 5 or 6, one may be somebody who's legit telling the truth. Now, if I narrated all 20 that were coming in, I mean, I would have content all over the place. But you
Right.
would quickly see that it's garbage because
Right.
people are just throwing stuff together. So it's a
Right.
formula that I have, and I always want to maintain my formula. It's like Coca-Cola. You know what I'm saying? They got their secret recipe. You keep your secret recipe. Don't mess it up. And that's how I feel about it. And
Right. Yeah.
I got my
Yeah.
boy, man, I love my wall with my albums. I got Making a Band. I got my boy Robert Johnson back there. You can't see my baby mama Sade. Let me see if I can show you my baby mama.
Oh,
That's it.
Sade. Yeah.
Hey baby mama. Um,
I see it. Yeah, top right. I
um
see it. Or your top
yeah.
left. Yeah.
But storytelling for me, man, developed from doing exactly like we're doing now. Sitting around smoking cigars, holding conversations with people.
Hmm.
And over that time period of, I mean, countless hours of conversations and hanging out with people, you have to learn how to captivate an audience. And then the
Right.
more sophisticated and intelligent those people are, you have to figure out how to interject yourself in the conversations and then
Right.
dominate space in that conversation to where the people will remember you. So imagine 15, 20 people, nobody really knows each other. It was a core group of 5 of us that knew each other. But every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it would be people cycling into this group.
Hmm.
And some people were very powerful, some people were very influential, some people were very rich. And so you had to leave an impression on those individuals. And the only way you're going to leave that impression is by being a great storyteller. And so you sit there and you tell them a story about your life, a story about what happened last Thursday, and you entertain them. And they're like, oh my God, I had the greatest time hanging out with you guys ever. It was fun. And then
Hmm.
the next thing you know, they come back again and again. And so it was the storytelling, the art of storytelling, in my opinion, was perfected from actually doing the art of storytelling live with people and getting feedback in the moment. It's
Wow.
easier here on YouTube because you're going to produce something, you're going to add a little music, you're going to put it out there, you get feedback, a couple of days. Then it was right there in the moment. You're telling a story. You got to read people's faces and read their emotions in that moment to see how they're taking what you're saying. And then you had to, if you wanted to do a sales pitch for something, you had to spin that pitch into that story. So if
Wow.
I'm talking
Okay.
about why you should allow me to build a house as a contractor, I can
Hmm.
say, hey man, let me build your house for you. Okay. Or you can say, man, let me tell you about this house we built uptown on such and such street. And I can tell you about the neighborhood. I can tell you about the
Mhm.
dope dealers on the corner, how we managed dealing with the dope dealers, how we ran them off, then how we brought the construction crew, and how the same dope dealers and the crackheads tried to steal equipment, and how we managed that. And by the time I get through telling you that story, which is a true story that really happened, now
Right.
you say, okay, all these problems and issues that we may run into with this man, he has the ability to deal with it. And so that's where the storytelling comes from.
Wow, man, that's a lot, dude. That's a lot you got to go through to make it happen, to make it all happen. You know what I'm saying? To generate everything for the story to come alive, basically. Because you know what, Dark Waters, I've been in the cryptid, well, here, YouTube channels and all that since I found. I think first one was Big Kind of the one, first one that I found, honestly, on
Hmm.
Dogman, because I used to look up, werewolves this, werewolf that. Never heard of Dogman, and then boom, Big Kind of came up. I was like, what the hell is this? So I started listening. Oh shit! All right, this guy's got some guys, people, telling their own story on radio. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I'm like, so this is real? I was always told this was fake. Since we
Hmm.
were kids. Like, oh no, that boogeyman don't exist, werewolves don't exist, vampires don't exist, none of that exists. It's all movies, right? So I'm like, damn, dude. So I was like, whoa, hold up. All these years that I've been loving to research all of this as it is, ever since I was a kid, going to a library, checking out books and stuff on vampires, werewolf, all that, right? Because back in the day, back in the 80s, when I was growing up, I don't know how old you are, brother, but I'm 48. And back in the day, in the 80s, that's how we used to go look for these stories and science fiction kind of things. You know what I'm saying? Bigfoot, chupacabras, all that, right? Back then, right? Because there was no internet. I mean, not easy access like there is today. I mean, there was, but not easy access. Only in schools and stuff like that. But anyway, long story short, that's when I started doing that. But then in 2000, what was it, like 15, is when I found on YouTube. When I first found Vic, and then I started digging into more and more. Brent and Sawin and all these other channels. I was like, holy crap! Then I found out about Scott Carpenter and all this stuff, and then just boom, it just opened a universe of cryptids that I already loved, and gave me that much more feedback on what I already loved and believed in. See what I'm saying? Like me, like I told you on my interview on your channel, I believed in UFOs before I actually saw any, right? And I had 3 UFOs in personal encounters, visual sight, in my lifetime. I wish I had more, but if I had 3, but I believed in that before, you know what I'm saying? Before it happened, before I even saw one. So that gave me kind of like the idea, you know what? I did believe in that. I had a hunch that was real, and then I proved to myself that it's real when I saw it, firsthand. So that kind of sparked up a bigger, curiosity, as in Bigfoot, because I already believed in Bigfoot, you know what I'm saying? And then now I believe in Dogman too, you know what I'm saying? Every 2015 till now. Um, so yeah, so I've been in this, cryptid, thing for, in this cryptid circle since 2015. When I first ran into Vic, and then after that, just binge watched all of his shows and all the other shows that were around back then. Also, too, there was a lot more videos on YouTube, bro. And I made a playlist. They're all gone now. They're like,
Hmm.
it's become so real, and so the people start believing them so much that they took them down. I'm like, what
Yep.
the hell? That's crazy. You know that, right, Dark Waters?
Hmm.
You've seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it. And
Yeah.
two things. Vic Cundiff is like one of the pillars in the Dogman community. People have issues with him. I've had my issues with him. I have a lot of respect for him because he's still a pillar in
Right.
the community. This cigar is ashing all over the place. Um, and so a lot of people got introduced to the subject through Vic and via Vic, which
Mm-hmm.
is a great thing. And that's a great
Mm-hmm.
thing that he's still going strong and still doing what he's doing. That's the one thing I like about him. He's probably the most consistent creator I've ever seen. Like, and I've talked to, I'm in groups with YouTube with creators,
Mm-hmm.
and we did a little sample talking where we were kind of talking about how creators create content, and I used him as an example. I said, there's a guy with Dogman accounts named Vic Cundiff. He hasn't missed a Friday, in damn near 8 years where he's done comments content every Friday consistently, religiously. And they did like a little diagnostic of his channel. It's like, this is why his channel is successful, because he's consistent and he's actually occupied that space in the algorithm that night. I mean, it's amazing what he's been able to accomplish. One of the people was asking, do people ever try and feed me fake encounters? It happens all the time.
All the time?
Yeah. And it's not necessarily that. So there's malicious feeding of fake encounters, and then there's exaggerations, right? So some people, you can tell when their encounter stops and they exaggerate because they just want to make it more than what it really is, because they don't think that it's exciting enough. And there's this pressure on them to try and fit in the framework of what they believe an exciting encounter is, right?
Right.
And then there's people who just maliciously lie. Like, everything from start to finish is a lie. And those people are a lot easier to catch when you go through the process of looping and injecting and spinning their own words. Because most people, they're used to talking, but they're not used to people actually listening to what they're saying. They're used to people hearing them, but there's a difference between hearing and listening. When you're listening to a person, you're going to pick up on the tonality changes. You'll pick up on fear in their voice if they're really afraid. You'll pick up on changes in their pace. So if you're talking about something chasing you, your pace should increase.
Right.
It's not like if you say, well, I was being chased by the woods. I was being chased through the woods by a dog man, and I ran by a tree. If you're reliving it and you're painting, you're seeing it in your head, everything is going to be flush with adrenaline and endorphins as you're telling that story.
Right. You're reliving it.
You're going to talk like you're reliving it. And so the reason why it's harder for me to put out content is because to vet it, I have to make those people relive those encounters over and over and over again. And then some people that have true, real encounters, man, they'll break down into tears while I'm talking to them. Like just boom, start bawling out crying. So now I need to physically and emotionally and mentally, because it actually physically affects their body, I have to pull them back out of that moment and safely put them in a place. I wouldn't call it a safe space. I would say a safe place mentally and emotionally where they can continue to talk. And then once I get them to where they're feeling better, now my job is to drive them right back to that moment and start all over again, and then have them bring me back through it. But this, most of the times when you go through it the second time, all that emotion is drained out. The first time they have all that emotion, they express all that emotion. The emotion the second time is drained away, and now they can really talk. So it's an extensive process, but that's why the stories turn out to be so good. But it also, if I would have done what a lot of people do, is you email them an encounter, they do spell correct and grammar correcting on it, and they just read it, I would have, loads of encounters that I could use. If I just took it down standard wise, maybe about 10%, 15%, and just let some stuff slide, I'll probably have way more than I have. But I want to keep that standard, because what happens over time is those encounters, they continue to grow and they continue to hold their place. Like, for example, Siege of Laga Ranch was the most vetted encounter I've ever done. I'll never vet anything like I vetted that one again, because that required me to go and meet people.
Yeah, that's number one. That's number one on your list.
It's a reason why it's number one, because it was the most vetted encounter. Now, of course, over the years, people have attacked it and tried to discredit it, and they've done all those things. But that encounter is still there, and it's not going anywhere, because it's the most vetted encounter I've ever done. And that's the whole point of doing it.
Right. Wow, man. I bet it takes a lot to do what you do, bro. Because I want to say, I got another question from my good friend Steve Riley. I'm fixing to put up right now, but yeah, you're welcome, Steve. But what I wanted to talk about is what is your take on the narrations that? Because see, one thing is I wanted to say is that there's a lot of channels out there, right? There's some that narrate good, but they don't have the rest of what it takes to be really good, right? To get you drive in the story like you do, right? And then there's people that have tons and tons and tons and tons. I won't mention any name, but tons of stories. Now I don't know if half of those are fake or not, because there's too damn many to put out in 1 week. I mean, I understand if you're not employed and you're retired and you got enough time to do that. I wish I could, but I don't. You're gonna upload like 2-3 times a day, you know what I mean, or at least 6 times a week, But the stories are kind of, like, man, I don't know if I could believe this story because it's kind of too good to be true or whatever, right? But they have good stories. They get a lot of good stories, but they don't narrate them that well, to get you in, like I said, like you do, to get you in the story and to like imagine it, because a lot of people, I'm pretty sure a lot of people like to listen to cryptid type stories or paranormal type stories before they go to sleep because it kind of makes their mind kind of wander. They kind of live in what they're hearing, and they go to sleep. Right, it gets them sleepy or whatever. I do that. I've been doing that for many years, but yeah, what I'm trying to say, like, there's a lot of channels, but they don't all have everything together combined to make a great channel where where like you said, Vic, consistency, guests, his platform, the way he does,
Mhm.
all his stuff. That's why he's, I guess, so good, right? But what I'm trying to say is that not everybody has everything to make, one good. So that's what I'm trying to say here.
Well,
And
the answer to your question is this. So it's a, and the audience will never look at it this way, but the truth of the matter is, it really boils down to the business model that creator's chosen. So, for example, let's take Vic Cunda, perfect example. Vic's model, a
mhm,
phenomenal model,
mhm,
every Friday. I think
mhm.
recently he started live streaming, which is great.
Yeah, he just
But
started. Hmm.
which I think is a great thing because he needed to. But
Yeah,
nonetheless, it was every Friday, consistent, this
right.
consistent
Every
model,
Friday.
which allowed him to create content out into the future.
Right,
God knows how many encounters that man has set aside to
right,
release in the future, right?
right,
But that
right.
was his business model. Then there's other people who their business model is quantity versus quality. So,
There you go.
in like when you look at a lot of the creepy pasta guys who have 2 million, 3 million, 4 million
That's what I was gonna
subscribers.
ask you next, bro. That's what I was gonna ask you next. What do you think about that? Because I think it's BS. We, you, me, a lot of these other channels, big channels, small channels, whatever, we try our best to have real people tell us their real encounters, right? And we try to get it out there, as in, getting the truth out there, versus the people with the made up stories and great content, great storytelling, but they're all made up stories, bro. And they got millions and millions of viewers, millions and millions of followers, and they put a story up, and within 2 hours, it's got like 100,000 likes. Like, what the, like, what
But that's
what
their
is that?
model,
I
though.
mean,
That's their business model. I'm not mad at them for it. So,
right.
first of all, they disclose it as creepypasta. They let you know it's
Hmm.
creepypasta. It's a
Hmm.
different genre than what we do.
Right.
So, the problem is when people make the comparisons. Like when I first started, people would try to compare what I was doing to creepypasta, and I was like, it's not the same thing. So don't make the comparisons. Just like
Hmm.
people try and compare what I did to what Vic did,
Right.
and Vic and I don't do the same things. But
Right.
those comparisons are what lead to conflict. Everybody has their own lane that they're in. So a creepypasta guy can sit there and they're geniuses at writing stories. And then the next genius part about what they're capable of doing is it takes a lot to sit down and narrate for one day, like 4 hours worth of stories. That's a lot of consistency, a lot of focus that those guys have. And so the
Yeah.
way I view it is this. I view it like each person has a strength that I can watch and learn from, as opposed to standing like in polar opposite to them. Those guys are phenomenal at what they do. They don't do the same thing that we do. They get rewarded based on the amount of energy and effort that they put in. Because if you go look at any creepypasta narrator, man, they are really, really putting out loads of content.
Yes,
And
I
for
know.
YouTube itself, YouTube is about the algorithm. It's not about the algorithm is kind
Right.
of a gateway, and it holds all these people back. And once you do the right thing, the gate opens and people come flooding in. What they've mastered doing is opening up that gate and reaching the larger audience.
Right.
Um, and that's cool. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they want to do. I respect it. Now, when you start comparing what they're doing to what we're doing or what we are
Hmm.
attempting to do,
Hmm.
there is no comparison
Okay.
because there's vetting, there's just factoring in things that you know to be true about this field.
Hmm.
And they don't necessarily do that. Now they do combine some of the true elements into their stories to make it great storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I've seen that.
at the end of the day, nobody gets mad at an author who writes a book about werewolves or writes a book about Bigfoot. It's just that competition, that exposure to the audience, and it's only an issue when you haven't found your lane. As you perfect your lane and you figure out where you belong and you perfect your craft, it really doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter at all.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well. Thank you for I hadn't thought about that side of it. I was more like in the comparison side. Like, why do they have so much more viewers and followers than we do? That we're putting out the truth. It's like people don't want to hear the honest truth of what has happened to these people that has had these encounters. Right. They'd rather hear a fake story that sounds better. You know what I mean? And
But
it
that's
kind
not the
of
case, though.
puts them to sleep or something. I don't know. I don't get it, but
But that's not the case.
right.
That's not what's happening. What's happening
Right.
is they are producing enough content to trigger the algorithm, and they've done what it takes research wise and knowledge base wise to actually grow. They understand
Right.
keywords, they understand hashtags, they understand times of days to put out content. They've built a business model that allows them to succeed.
Yeah.
And because I have people who come from creepypasta channels and listen, and they'll say, "Wait, I listen to this creepypasta channel. I listen to you. Yours is 100 times better." I'm like, "Well, thank you,"
Yeah.
and that's just that.
Yeah.
But to crack that nut, like if I wanted to crack the creepypasta nut, I would have the research engine optimize my whole channel and name it creepypasta. And then boom, I'm off into their lane.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different lane that we're
Yeah.
riding in. So when
Right.
you put in Dogman as a tag, you go into the bucket of Dogman. If you
Right.
put werewolf, you go in that bucket. They have true scary stories, scary
Yes.
creepypasta. That's their bucket.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
bucket is huge. It's really, really huge.
Yeah. It was sometimes I think, are people scared of the truth and they just rather hear a made up story of some kind, or I mean, I don't know.
It's
I
just
would
that
think people would like what we do better than creepy pasta stories. You know what I mean? I don't know.
people just want to be entertained.
There you
That's
go.
here's the truth that I've learned about this field.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, we did a live evidence gathering project, Dogman Cams. We got live Bigfoot footage, had field investigators in the field, all this other stuff. I mean, credible evidence that nobody's ever done anything like that. And what I learned from that whole experience is that people just want to be entertained. When they
Yes.
want to take some down, have some downtime
Yes.
and get away from their life,
Yes.
they want to click on something and be entertained.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
and so that's what it boils down to. So they don't really care if it's true
True.
or not.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
want to be entertained. Now, if it's true, they may say, "Well, man, I really like the fact that this is true." But
Mm-hmm.
when you go and like, if you look at your channel and see what other in your analytics and see what other people are watching, you'll find that they're watching creepypasta channels. You'll find that they're watching all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started looking at analytics, I said, okay, these people are looking at a little bit of everything. So that let me know immediately, okay, these people really just want to be entertained.
Yes,
And
they
so
do.
it's a unique balance between giving good content and entertaining people at the same time.
Right, absolutely. I agree, man. I agree, bro. And I think it's more of the fear factor. Like you said, being entertained, the fear factor. That's what they
Hmm.
love. That's what they look for. Like, oh, Dogman was chasing me, instead
Hmm.
of this other real encounter that the Dogman didn't chase him, but he shake the doorknob and he walked around the porch and all that. They're like, it kind of bores them or whatever. They want like action, bro. They want like, even if it's made up. That's the thing. Even if it's made up, that's what they want to hear. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? The fear
But that's what
factor.
people are primed to hear, man. That's what people
Yeah.
are primed to hear. Steve Riley said, "Has any government agencies contacted you over your narrations?" I've been contacted a couple of times, not only over narrations but over interviews. It's really more,
Ooh.
Steve, over interviews. Some of the things I've disclosed in interviews, especially earlier on when I wasn't, I wouldn't say knowledgeable. I wasn't quite up on the line, the invisible line that's there that you need to know not to step over and when to
Mm-hmm.
step back. And so once I figured out where that line was, um, I dance on the line all the time and I spin around on the line, but I don't go over the line anymore because
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
profitability in it. Like there's nothing good in it for me or my family. Because at the end of the day, you realize how quickly stuff is discredited. I'll give you an example. Fort Pierce, Florida, Blue,
Blue.
the various Stubbs, my homie, still my
Mm-hmm.
homie to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Best piece of evidence there was, right?
Yes, that's the best one. That's the best
Best
one.
one there was.
Hands down.
There's a second best dog man evidence where this guy's going out following this dog, and you see the dog man run from behind a tree real quick. But
Mm-hmm.
what I learned from that was not only were there forces inside of this field that were based on jealousy and envy that would discredit something,
Right.
there was organized forces that wanted to discredit things or bring down the attention level of it. That's why I had Blue go immediately to TV stations. It was me and what's homeboy's name? Marvin Allen. Marvin Allen
Right.
hooked him up with one TV show. I hooked him up with another,
Mm-hmm.
and it was better for him to go to TV real quick, real fast. He'll get compensated for the evidence, and by him being on TV, it will put him in a position of safety. And since he did that, when he did that, all that discrediting stopped because it already at hyper speed got to the maximum position it would be. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if let's say over the next from the time he had that encounter for 6 months after that, let's just say it was kind of like just him popping off on this podcast, him on this podcast, him on this podcast. Now you have time to discredit that encounter. When it goes from, okay, I had the encounter, 2 weeks later I'm on TV, now it's validated, it's harder for it to be discredited. And it's just like, okay, that's one we missed. We're going on about our business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's how it worked out for him. So it's one of those things you need to be mindful of it. I'm always mindful of it. I tell creators all the time, be mindful of there are these invisible lines.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, the line has been drawn on Giants. Everybody's seen it, but the
Mm-hmm.
guy is going missing over the Giants.
Yeah.
But nobody understands why. I still don't really understand why, it's that significant to
What's
try
his
and
name?
hide
What was that guy's name? Andrew something?
Andrew Dawson, I think was his
Dawson.
name.
Yeah. Yeah. Dawson. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he went
so
missing, but they don't know if it's fake or if he's really missing. Like they suicided or whatever.
missing is missing, bro. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Suicided, missing is missing, bro. It just
Yeah.
gone. So,
He's gone.
at the end of the day, therein lies the problem. And most people get overzealous about these type of things when they find out about it. Oh, I'm going to share it to the whole world. Well, frankly, the whole world don't really give a damn. There's a small selection or a small portion of the population that cares.
Right.
Now, why the powers that be contend for that small population? I believe they know that that's the most awake population of people across the globe. People who are in tune with hidden mysteries, the paranormal. Those are people who are highly spiritual aware in multiple different ways. And so those are your people who end up being your fighters. Those are your people who are willing to make a stand for things. And so I think it's kind of like the people in the middle. You got one side the right, one side the left. The people in the middle are the ones you're fighting for. And
Right.
so I think that's why they contend for those people, and they take issue with that information coming out. Outside of that, I mean, it makes no sense, and I put a lot of thought into it. It absolutely makes no sense why Mr. Dawson would go missing, or
Right.
anybody else would go missing.
And you know what, too, Dark Waters? I think it's actually more dangerous to bring out actual evidence than not. You know what I'm saying? It's more dangerous. Why? Because it's not the ridicule that you're going to get from the people. It's the shut up that you're going to get from the government. You know what I'm saying? The shut up attitude that you're going to get from the government, and they're gonna take away whatever evidence you have. They're going to put some dirty evidence in your computer if you keep trying to do what you're trying to do. They threaten you. They say you either stop it or something's going to happen to you. You know what I mean?
Well,
So I think it's a bigger threat of actually showing evidence. And I think that's why a lot of people that do have evidence don't bring it out because they're scared of that.
Well, it's dangerous to be first. That's the
Right.
real issue.
Yeah.
It's not dangerous to put out evidence. It's dangerous to be first. And so if you're
Yeah.
first, then you got the target on your back.
Right.
And unfortunately, Mr. Dawson was the first person. And I'm pretty sure
Right.
he was warned along the way, and he didn't just back off. He should have just
Right.
laid off a little bit and backed
Yeah,
away
he
and said,
should've.
okay. Because once you got the video out there, the video is out there. Once it went viral, it's viral. Everybody's sharing it.
Yep.
There's nothing else to do.
Right. You can't take it back. Yeah.
You can't take it back. They can't sanitize it off the internet because sanitizing it only makes it more popular. Now people are going to put it. The Streisand effect takes place. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he put out the evidence. He should have just monetized it. Went on TV, talked about it, went on about his
That was
business.
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he didn't have anybody to give him any advice on it, so he just ran with it.
Right. And he kept pushing it, try to, get some more evidence because he saw how well he did with the first. So, and that was his mistake right there. He should have just left it like you said. Should have just left it. And he would have been known, for that one video, and that's it. Nothing would have happened to him. Right. So, and also, I wanted to ask you too, DW. since you mentioned blue, right? You took me back to the Dogman Cam days. I remember the 5 years ago, something like that. I remember I used to be on there with a couple of cryptid buddies. You know what I mean? And we were like, "Oh, did you see this? Did you see that? I thought I saw something on the left top corner and all this, right?"
Mm-hmm.
But then I don't know, a couple 2-3 months down the line, they kind of just stopped because I think y'all were having problems with the technical side of things or something, and y'all just took them all down. Now I wanted to ask you, do y'all have them up again? Because I've heard you mention in a couple of your shows about Dogman Cams, but I wasn't too sure if y'all got them up and running again or not.
Well, I'm going to put them back up, but they're coming back up in a different form. The problem with Dogman Cams was
Mm-hmm.
people were sharing passcodes. So I think we had 200 members that were paying members, but when you would go into the system, it would be 500, 800 people on the cameras. And so
So
what
they
it
were,
did was
yeah.
it burned all the bandwidth and it slowed the cameras down and it made it impossible. Um,
Okay, gotcha.
so my thought process is at this point in time, if I do it, I'll do one free camera
Mm-hmm.
that I'll give access to certain creators where they want to stream it, they can stream it. I'll put it in a location where I know there's activity. And then I'm going to do cameras with this project called Erie Expeditions, where Erie Expedition goes to different locations. So the first
Mm-hmm.
scheduled location is the LBL. You go in, you install the cameras, you spend 48 hours in the LBL with the
Right.
cameras installed, and you do an investigation. Take them down, go to the next location. But that's going to be functioning through an app, so it can't be stolen like it was before. Um,
Okay. So you're gonna kind of move them around a little bit
yeah,
at
it
certain
makes more sense.
times.
No, it's
Yeah.
going to be a weekend investigation here with the cameras, a weekend investigation there with the cameras.
Okay,
That
gotcha.
way, it's not stationary,
Right.
and then people can get. Most people want us to, like, for example, take the LBL. Most
Mm-hmm.
people know about the LBL. They
Mm-hmm.
see people go out to the LBL, but I mean, if you can go to LBL on one weekend, then go over to the Appalachian Trail on another weekend, then go somewhere else in the desert on a third weekend, and people get to experience all those places, it's much better than just stationary cameras. And so I've been working on that for about 6 months now. The tech is done.
Cool.
The issue is finalizing the integration of the app and the video streaming. That's the hardest part, to stream it directly through the app and make sure it has enough bandwidth. Because when I look at the numbers of what was going on prior to this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm bringing this price to where it's super duper cheap. So if you have 1,000 people on the app for an investigation, you need to make sure that those 1,000 people actually get the service. And so that's the problem.
Right. Okay. Well, because I was gonna say, like, you know how there's some apps, like I have what is it? I have a on my TV. I have a what is that? The little deal that goes in the back and your
You have
USB
the
and
Roku,
something like that. But it's the one before that. What is it called? Um,
the Amazon Fire Stick.
Fire Stick. There you go.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So I got certain channels that are open, but if I want a certain one, I have to pay for that monthly, right?
Hmm.
So if I don't pay for it the next month, then it's gonna go away. You're not gonna be
Hmm.
able to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like sports. I had one like that, an app for sports, and you can watch all the football games, basketball games, baseball games, everything, right? But you
Hmm.
have to pay for it, and it's not that much really. I think it was just like $20 a month, which is better than $50 on NFL. You know what I'm saying? To watch all the season games, right? So, but the thing is, you can't do that with your cameras and your subscribers. Like charge them, like say $20 a month, and but they can't use that same password to give it to somebody else
Right.
because of
That
the,
that's the
you know what I'm
problem
saying?
that we were experiencing. The problem we were experiencing was
Mm-hmm.
because of the way it was streaming.
Because it's encrypted or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
one
Like,
person would pay. Well, no, it's just that the way it was set up was it wasn't behind. It was behind a paywall, but the stream wasn't on an application itself. So what ended up happening is one person could spend $20 and they could share that password because they got the password to the actual camera itself, as opposed to a password to the app. And so people were able to share those passwords, which caused problems and all the rest of it. That's what the software and the build out is taking into account and fixing. But even with that, all those problems, I mean, it really was something groundbreaking. Nobody was doing anything like that. I mean,
right.
nobody has tried to do anything like it since.
Since
Hmm.
I haven't seen anybody try it. Nope.
Mm-mm.
And that was great, man. Now, like I said, I used to get on there every night, especially at the Blue location. in Fort Pierce. That's I think that was like the main one that everybody used to get on, because you had like three or four, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was like the main one because everybody knew that thing was there. So, and you could see like the clotheslines they had on the left side, and then the back
Mm-hmm.
trees, and then like the little tree line that I had right there, right where that thing had ran through. And it was fun, man, just watching that. And there was a lot of people on there live commenting, like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw this. I think I saw that." You know, like that. It was pretty cool, man. While it lasted, it was cool. It was
And
awesome,
there
actually.
was, we would get eye shine down. So if you were looking at that camera, if you look to the left down that tree line, you will
Mm-hmm.
consistently get eye
Yeah.
shine. I'm talking about
Yep.
eye shine 12 feet in the air, 7
Yep.
feet in the air,
Yep.
all the time. It would be eye shine. People would wake me up at night. DW, what you doing? I'm like, I'm asleep. Turn on the cameras. Like, I'm not turning on the damn camera. And now
Yeah.
turn it on. It's two big old eyeballs. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
And then we would have Blue go out the next day and go walk down there and be like, Blue, go take a look and see what it is. He'd be like,
Yeah.
there's nothing down here. I don't see nothing. I'm going back inside. I'm like, all right, bro. So,
Yeah, that's where I always used to see the most activity on the top left corner, which is where that tree
mm-hmm.
line ended. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was like, man, I wish they could get it back. But like I said, I heard you talk about it. So I'm like, man, I wonder if he's got it back yet, or he's working on it. And thank you for telling us that you are, right? So wow, man, that's cool, brother. Now I did want to ask you a couple of questions as I remember them, because there's too many and we don't have enough time. But as I remember and as what we're talking about, you know, as that proceeds, that's where I remember on what to ask you, right? But here's another question. This is from Spiritual Encrypted Encounter. It says, do you think the government is using satellites to interrupt investigations and track down people?
I don't think they need to use satellites to do it. Um, for the most part, you carry a smartphone around whichever way you go. It's nothing more than a tracking device. They don't need to use satellites.
That's right.
Now they'll use satellites to cover up evidence of crimes that have been committed by Bigfoot and Dogman. They'll use satellites and burn out areas and destroy places, but they don't need a satellite to track you. No.
Right. Right. And, you know, the satellite thing too, the satellite thing, I think that's BS, because if there was really, really satellites, bro, then your phone would catch anywhere. And there's a lot of dead spots, especially in the forest, in the woods. There's a lot of dead spots where you can't catch no cell phone. Why? Because you're too far from the nearest cell phone tower or you know, communications tower. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I honestly think that all the signal we get is from the communications towers that are closest to us. You know?
No, that's how cell networks work. But when we
Right.
start talking about your phone itself being a tracking device, so for example,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you decide you're gonna go out into the woods and you're gonna go search for Bigfoot and you bring your phone with you. They
Mm-hmm.
know, put it like this, there's geofencing in areas where they know when somebody goes into that area. Most people think it's they have people on spot looking. No, it's called geofencing. That geofencing lets them know when a cell phone crosses into an area, and then there's layers of geofencing. So there's the first layer, second layer, third layer, fourth layer. Now, once you get to a
Wow.
fourth layer, now okay, we need to go see what these people are doing because you're getting
Why
closer
are
and
they
closer to
there?
an area.
Right? Yeah.
You're getting
Yeah.
closer and closer to an area where there's activity.
Wow. So it's like a radar, you're saying, and it picks up on, you know, how far you get into where they're
Hmm.
trying to keep people out from, right? That's what
Hmm.
you're saying? Wow,
Exactly.
I didn't know that. Never heard of that before, DW.
Oh,
Damn,
bro,
that's
that's the kind of
crazy.
stuff. When you actually truly talk to eyewitnesses, I mean, really
Yeah.
dig
That
into
makes
stuff,
sense.
you come up on all this type of information.
That makes sense.
Because there's
Yeah.
eyewitnesses that I talk to, they'll say, "Well, DW, I'm trying to figure out how come every time I go to this area, somebody's there within 10 minutes." It's like it's not
Yeah.
like they know I'm there, and I'm like, "Yeah,
Right.
they do know you're there."
They
And
pick up
so
on it, on your
one
signal.
day, I had him go out and install an app on his phone, and I said, "I want you to install this app on your phone, and I want you to tell me what other signals are in the area." And
Right.
so he installed it, and it turns your phone into a receiver where you receive signals. And he was like, "Hold on, man, it's like there's something out here." And I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "Okay, I crossed through something." I was like, "Yep." I said, the signal gets stronger?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Keep going." Next time, signal got stronger. By the time he got to the third one, he said, "Man," he called me back. He said, "Man, I lost signal, but I was picking up something, but it was so strong, my phone started blacking and blinking out." And I was like, "Well, he lost phone signal where he could talk to me, but he was still picking up something." He got nervous. And he was like, "Well, how do you know these things?" I said, "Well, bro, I'm just telling you what they do." So
Yeah.
most people feel like the tracking is they're going to dedicate a satellite overhead to follow you, but that makes no sense to dedicate those resources when you have all the resources on the ground already.
Right. Man, that's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Thank you, DW. Shit. Never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
my good brother Al Santariga, he says, DW, I think you're giving up too much information tonight, brother.
Nah, it'd be all right. That's stuff that
Yeah. No, and I know you got a lot more, but yeah, I know you don't talk about it, which is cool. I completely understand. But
I mean, it's the 1,000 subscriber mark. I want people to come listen. I want them to have
yes,
something to listen to,
thank
bro.
you.
I don't want them to be
Thank you,
like,
brother.
oh, he went on and talked
Yeah.
about the same thing you always talk about. So I want
Yeah.
people to give
Yeah.
me y'all something. That's all.
Exactly. Thank you, brother. Thank you for that, man. Yes, thank you. And you know what? Somebody said, yeah, now it makes sense. Or, oh, there it is. That would explain a lot. Thank you. Yeah, Marlene Kalb. I can't say her last name, but yeah, thank you. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, that's why it makes sense to me. You know what I mean? It makes sense to me now. What you're saying. That's why they show up out of nowhere. Because they got those invisible barriers. And that's why you're saying the signal gets stronger when they go through them. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That's what ends up happening, bro.
And another thing, do you think that is also part of the reason why cell phones start, you know, the pixelation starts getting really bad and staticky, and they're like, if they're live out in the woods, like my good buddy Spiritual Encrypted Encounters does, he goes out there and live in the woods, and sometimes his camera the pixelation starts going really bad, bro. Like the signal gets really bad, gets like corrupted. You know what I'm saying? It goes like this, it goes, and it goes like this. Do you think that's part of the reason those signals are doing that to the cell phones?
It could be a combination of the geofencing, and it could probably be a combination of the other things that are in the woods with these creatures. So if you get into an area where there's really Bigfoot and Dogman activity, they're not the only thing there. And that's been well documented. So paranormal entities, demonic entities, they all have ways of affecting your electronic technology. And that's one of the ways that you know you're in one of those areas. That's been proven by EMF detectors and all the rest of the stuff that regular paranormal investigators use. So you go out into the woods around cryptids and monsters that are basically empty vessels that, how can I say this, that anything can catch a ride with. When you run into Bigfoot, you're not just running into Bigfoot. When you run into Dogman, you're not just running into Dogman. That's one of the things that the camera project actually showed us. Like when we were looking at the stuff in Vault's backyard, you would see a Bigfoot, and then you would see something in the trees with glowing white eyes. You would see these things that look like aliens. You would see all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, when Bigfoot was there, you didn't have all the time have that crazy interference. But when you had a Bigfoot there and you had one of those things with those big glowing white eyes or one of those alien head looking things, bro, you had all kind of crazy stuff going on. Cameras going out, static on the cameras. And so it's well documented that that paranormal activity that's with them, or those entities that are with them, affect they affect your cameras. That's why I tell people all the time, you know, finding Bigfoot, finding Dogman is a very dangerous thing because you never know what you're really finding.
And you know what, too, DW? I think like the shows, right? Like the show Finding Bigfoot. They never found a damn Bigfoot, right? But I think it's because they go out there announcing themselves, hey, we're here. We got all these cameras and all these lights and all these infrareds and all these night vision. You know, that's basically telling them, leave the area, right? I mean, that's, to me, that's kind of dumb. Because, you know, if these creatures have these special abilities to pick up on infrared, you know, all that, and radio waves, all that, bro. Like, even from a cell phone, they can pick up that signal, that radio wave, you know, strength that's coming from your cell phone. So they know you're there before you even get close enough to see them. See what I'm saying? So I think that's another thing, because that's what I've learned throughout the years of cryptid research, right? That cryptids have the ability to depixelate your videos, your pictures. That's why they come out all blurry and shit. I mean, I'm sorry for the language, but that's why. And a lot of people don't know that. And so when somebody posts a picture or a video, oh, it's all blurry. Oh, like always, it's always blurry. Yeah, because these things have the ability to do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of people don't get credit for the pictures that they try to post or they post. Now they got the people that do know what they're looking at and they do know what's going on, like myself and a lot of my cryptid buddies, and they see what's going on and they mention, yeah, I see that right there on the left, bottom right, whatever. You know what I mean? But then you got the people that you have to bring them a damn dead Bigfoot. Here, look at him. He's right here. To make them believe. And they're like, oh no, I don't see nothing. Oh, that's just what do they call it when you think you see something? Pareidolia. Yeah. Oh, that's just pareidolia. Y'all are just seeing things, blah blah blah, whatever. But it's always like negative comments. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, you can't keep anybody happy. You know what I mean?
Well, you also have to realize this. So there is a way that narratives are created to discredit people. And so,
Yes.
for example, when you really really go viral,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about millions and millions of views,
Mm-hmm.
you get this influx of comments. And
Yes.
if you really look at the comments for what they are, you'll see the series of comments, another blurry picture. Oh, it's too blurry. And it's consistent, and it's too consistent for it to be just the average individual. So I'll submit this to you. A lot of your groups that you guys, that's why I don't deal with Facebook and Facebook groups. I have my own groups and I just feed stuff into it. A
Right.
lot of the Facebook groups that you're in, they have people in those groups that intentionally,
Mm-hmm.
it's their job, they're paid to
Trolls.
create narratives.
Yeah, they're
And
trolls.
they're not, now a troll is different. This is not trolling. This is literal
Oh,
narrative
paid
creation. Yeah, they're
paid people.
literally creating narratives
Right.
by, because you got to understand human nature, right? So based on human nature, if let's say you got a group of 15,000 people and you get 200 people or 200 accounts, and
Mm-hmm.
200 accounts consistently start labeling things as blurry, and they start making it cool to call something blurry, and they start labeling it over and over and over, they know the herd mentality
Mm-hmm.
kicks in. And so now people pick up on those talking points and it
Mm-hmm.
takes off on their own. You'll see it over and over in the Bigfoot community. I've seen it more than anything when I focus on Bigfoot.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
it's another blurry picture. Or the one that gets me is, oh, they took this photo with a potato. Think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Does it make sense? Anybody in the chat, would you come up with that as your way of dissing something? Oh, they took this with a potato. That
Yeah.
sounded like something that came off somebody's desk. When
Yeah.
I first started seeing, I was like, this came off somebody. Somebody sat there and focus group this
Yeah.
stupid reply to
Mm-hmm.
use it. Oh, who took this? You took this photo with a potato? Like what? Like, it's dumb. But you'll see it perpetuated over and 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 over again. Once you have a viral video, like I had one of my shorts did, I wanted to say did 35 million views, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
does 35 million views. And then I had another Bigfoot short that did something like 2.5 million views. And so the comments come flooding in, and I'm just sitting there going through the comments, and I'm like, yo, this don't make no sense. Who decided to use this? And so I started checking it across other Bigfoot channels that had evidence. And it's this, oh, you took this picture with a potato. Who
Mm-hmm.
does that? That
Mm-hmm.
makes no sense, right?
Right.
And so once you kind of see the hidden language that's being used, you know that there's other factors and forces that are involved in this. And the way they nudge things in certain directions is with narratives. Um, it's it's not exactly skillfully done. It could be done better, but I mean they do what they do. I frankly
So
don't care. Nudge it however you want to nudge it.
so let me see if I'm understanding this right, DW. So you're saying basically by putting those negative comments, it creates some type of algorithm for either the platform or the three-digit agencies to come and check that video out and try to discredit it even more besides their
No,
comments, their negative comments,
no.
or
What I'm
what?
saying is they start creating narratives with the comments, so
Mm-hmm.
other people, the herd,
Can
follows
follow.
behind it,
Yeah.
and they pick up using the same terminology.
Right. And then they use it on the next video when
And they
they
use it
after they yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I
now they
got you.
perpetuated that. They put it into the lexicon of conversation, and
Yeah.
now they go and work on the next one. And
Yeah.
if you really look close, you see it. And they're in all the groups, man. I mean, they're in groups all over the place. And that's how they manage majority of the stuff. And that's a different group of people than the people who manage you going out into the woods and doing dumb stuff, which in my mind, if you want to get shot in the head and get suicided, then
Right.
guess what?
Right.
Go out in the woods and kill your Bigfoot and get suicided.
Right. Right. Exactly. I got another question from my good buddy Steve Riley, man. DW, where do you think Dogman and Bigfoot come from? If you can't answer, I understand. Thank you.
No, I mean I've answered that question on.
Plenty
I've
of
done over
times.
323 interviews. I mean I've answered that question over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said that there's manifestations in the woods that are not physical, that are demonic, and purely spiritual, or you can call them. Some people blend and say demonic is interdimensional, but I say two different things. So there's these demonic manifestations that are manifesting people's houses in downtown Dallas in the top of a condo, and they'll see it, smell it, can touch it. Then there's interdimensional beings that literally come from other dimensions where people talk about Bigfoots coming out of trees. Then there's the physical flesh and blood beings, which are the seed of fallen angels, which people will call Nephilim. And then there's genetically modified entities that have been spliced and gene spliced that are weapons that are used on battlefields. It's primarily in jungle environments, but they're used. So you got four different areas where they
Mm-hmm.
come from. So there's no one answer. It
Right.
just depends on what you encounter. So, for example, you remember when the hyena-looking dog man, I think it was about 4 years ago, people
Mm-hmm.
really started talking about, oh, this thing looked like a hyena.
Yep.
Well, when you start tracing back those hyena encounters, and geographically, not only in the states but outside of the states, they're found in super duper dense wooded areas. Now, the thing that all those areas have in common is they're all butted up to military bases, and so you find that hyena looking dog man is
Mm-hmm.
always on the outskirt of a military base where they do their
Military.
military exercises.
So that I think that's the super soldier type, that the military uses.
Could be.
That's what I think. Have you ever heard of them using Dogman in Vietnam? Have you ever heard that story?
No.
Yeah, I heard that they had a unit of Dogmen that helped them out in Vietnam. They transported them all the way over there and told them that if they helped the U.S. win the war and all this other stuff, through those what were they called, those swamps or whatever they had over there in Vietnam, that that they would let them free in their own range area, right? And these things supposedly did help them by killing a bunch of soldiers. But what happened is when they killed everybody, they took off on their own and never came back to their creator, to their whatever, to their military creator.
I wouldn't put it past the non-governmental organizations that
Yeah.
that's something that they do.
Yeah.
My belief is this, that they have access to technology that's 30, 40 years ahead of us, and they've been putting things into place and putting things in position and using different things, whether it be gene splicing technology, the creation of new entities. They've been doing that for a long time. I think now the biggest issue that they run into is because of the internet, they can't hide it like they used to be able to hide it. And so therein lies the problem for them.
Right. Man, that's crazy. Well, thank you for answering that, man. For my good friend Steve Riley. Steve Riley is like one of my best moderators. Him and Oklahoma Nana. Him, her, and Al Santoriga. Al Santoriga is my good brother. He knows a lot, man. Him and you probably know them. Brian Bowden. You ever heard of Brian Bowden and Al Santoriga?
I don't think I've ever had the pleasure of talking to them.
Okay. Yeah, they're very, very knowledgeable people, man, in this cryptid world. That's who I kind of learned a lot from when I first started the podcasting and stuff like that, and that's who I learned a lot from, man. They're very knowledgeable, and they were my go-to whenever I had a question or anything like that. But yeah, man, thank you, DW, for being here. Does anybody else have? I'm trying to keep up with your conversation, the questions, and the what you call it, the comments. I like to bring them up on the screen, DW, if you've noticed. So I'm keeping an eye on them. And okay, here's a question right here. Oklahoma Nana says, "Do you agree in tribal family troops?" I agreed on your answer. Perfect categorizing. But I also believe in tribal blood and flesh.
I'm not familiar with what she means by tribal
Family troops.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, are we talking about based on Native American
I
tribes?
think
Are we
so.
talking about
Yeah,
um
I think that's what she's talking about because she's native as well, so she's part native. So yeah, I think that's what she's talking about.
I mean, I know for a fact that that on many reservations, if you've ever been on a reservation, sister, then you know those are things that are spoken about.
Hmm.
I don't think those are things that I should be speaking about publicly, but I would say that there's a lot of merit to what she's saying. Absolutely,
Yeah,
there's a lot of merit to what she's saying.
yeah, I do too, man. And my good buddy, Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, and I wanted to talk about that because I have heard about that in Fort Hood, Texas. That's a military base. Now, DW, there's a forest right next or right behind it. I can't remember. And they have no names whatsoever, bro. Like no road names, no nothing. Like
No,
it's
bro, that's the place
totally
I was
out of
talking about
bounds.
with the hyena man, Fort Hood. That's
Yeah,
exactly
Fort
what I was
Hood.
talking about.
Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? Because I was looking at it one time. I was talking to my good buddy from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters. And I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, because he was in the military. And I said, hey, and he was based out of Fort Hood, too. I was like, hey, what's up with the Fort Hood dude? That forest behind her, man. It's like there's no names, no roads, no nothing. It's like, yeah, man, that's creepy, bro. A lot of things have happened there. Like, damn, a lot of people go missing there too,
Hmm.
and they don't cover it. They do not cover it. So that's crazy, man.
And that's the one thing that I would say that's your indicator to the truth. Like
Hmm.
the truth is really not covered. They make mistakes in covering things up, and if you know how to look for the cover up, I mean, if you ever been involved in any cover up, you
Hmm.
know what the dynamics of a cover up is. But if you know what to look for, you'll see the cover up. That was one of the things that people started getting into. People being attacked by packs of wild dogs, people going missing,
Oh
um,
yeah.
those type of things. That's the anatomy of a cover up. If you understand the anatomy of a cover up, then you know there's going to give just enough information
Hmm.
for you to have to bring finality to an issue, and then that's it. Just enough, because all the public needs is an answer, and that's what most people don't understand. You need an answer that'll satisfy the human curiosity. So you give them an
Right.
answer, and then you move on and go on to the next thing. And as long as there's an answer given, doesn't have to be the correct answer, doesn't have to be an elaborate answer. Oh, this person went missing in this area. We don't know what happened to them. We believe they may have fell off a cliff. Period. As long as you give them an answer, most people are going to process that answer and say, okay, that's good enough for me, and going about their business. Because the way the human mind works is we have our own problems and issues. And if it's not directly affecting us, then we don't have space in our mind to hold on to it.
Hmm.
So you give a person a week, they forgot what happened last Monday. Most people can't tell you what they ate for breakfast last Monday, right? So more so keep up with a person that went missing or the exact location they went missing in. So when we talk about the masses of people, the sheeple, they're really worried about them, not me and you. It's real simple. Give them an explanation and let it go away.
Right. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for that, man. You're dropping a lot of knowledge tonight on us, DW. Appreciate that, brother.
No, you're welcome, man.
Really appreciate that. And well, my last question to you is because I thought about this all day. I'm gonna ask him. I said I'm gonna ask him. I hope I don't forget. Are you thinking, or will you consider going back out there to one of the hot spots, like the one in Dogman Island, or like the one in
Hell no.
Taylor, Mississippi, or anything like that?
No.
No. Would
No.
Skip? No.
No, I was
What?
ignorant in those days. Once you
Mm-hmm.
truly understand the depth of the danger you put yourself in,
Yeah.
um, that there's no way. There's
Right.
no way on the planet I'm doing it, because I at first I thought it was just Dogman and Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? Those things are terrifying enough. But
Yeah.
once you truly understand the depth of the danger that's there, the other entities that run with them, the fact that when you go on to their land where those entities are occupied, that they have a certain form of dominion and they have a certain form of control. The other things that are done in the woods and how these things are unleashed on this planet, the blood that's shed in order to bring them into this reality, the interdimensional ones, like to go to the real locations where these things really are. There's a lot that's going into them being in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no interest in involving myself in that. And then you get the human element. of the cults that are out there making sacrifices that open portals and gateways for them to come into.
Yeah.
I, bro, I don't have no time for that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's that, man. That's crazy. Well, I can understand. I can fully understand since you've been out there, with these things and you felt their, presence. That's scary enough, man. But you actually seen these things come out of the damn woods. You know what I mean? Like in Taylor, Mississippi, when they were, when they were rushing and getting closer, and Skip took off on you.
Yeah, bro. Like I
That
have
shit
no
was
interest in that.
crazy.
That was
Yeah,
done out of pure ignorance, like
yeah.
pure childish ignorance. Like you just don't know any better. I know better, and it doesn't make any sense, man. Like
Mhm.
even now, when I go fishing around here, get in the boat, we going fishing. There's certain areas in the swamp we go fishing, and when we go in, I start getting a bad feel. I'm like, nah, we coming out of here. Man,
Yeah,
we
because
catching
you
fish. I'm
got
like,
the
nah, bro.
Rougarou. You got the Rougarou in Louisiana, man.
We got that. We got
So
alligator man. We got all kind of shit down here that I have no interest in running into.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, and tell me a little bit about Sabine Pass because I see you talk about Sabine Pass all the time. The Sabine River, which is the border for the people that don't know, it's the border river between Texas and Louisiana. Can you tell us about that, man? Just to kind of wrap it up tonight
Well,
for
the
us.
Sabine Pass, the Big Woods, everything in that area is a cryptid's playground. I mean, you got
Yeah,
Bigfoot in there, you got Dogman in there, you got Alligator Man in there. You have this freaking entity that's like 11 foot tall, emaciated, looks like a skeleton that crawls out of the ground and chases people, but it runs like you know how if a human being was running and they leap forward and landed with their hands and then push their hands back between their legs and propel themselves forward,
yeah.
it runs like that, bro. It's all kind of wicked stuff going on over there,
Ooh
and
wee.
I have no interest whatsoever, bro.
DW, let me ask you this too, man. Sorry, I know it's a question after question, but let me ask you this too. It just popped up. You know how New Orleans is, or New Orleans, like y'all said, New Orleans,
Mm,
um, is very well known for its paranormal activity. There's many haunted places there and stuff like that. And
mhm,
there's legends of vampires living there. Kind of like the Interview with a Vampire movie or whatever. It was based
mhm.
off of that in New Orleans, Mississippi River, all that. But do you think, and voodoo is a big one in New
Mhm.
Orleans, right? So do
Mhm.
you think all that black magicness can open up portals and gateways for these cryptids to come out in, and that's why there's so much in those swamps and in those lands
Well, I think it's
in
just the history
Louisiana?
of the state.
Uh
I think
huh.
it's that when you combine the history of the state itself with the original Native American tribes, when you bring in the slave trade, when you bring in French, you bring in Italian, you bring in Chinese. There, people don't understand that because it is a port city. The amount of people who've come through this city and the amount of blood that was shed in this city. Um, when it comes to opening portals and open things like that, it's really based on blood. And so it's a lot of blood been shed in my city, and it's a lot of blood shed in my city all the time. And so it really is based on the bloodshed that's happened in this
I've
city.
heard about that, man. I've heard it's the new murder capital of the world, New Orleans. I just heard that
And,
because I
and
watch a lot of true crime, so I've heard about that. Like, damn, that's messed up, man.
bro, it's been the murder capital of the world about 5 times. That it is what it is. That's just New Orleans, bro.
So, do you think that has a lot to do with it too? All the bloodshed?
I think the bloodshed. I think the magic. I think the people talk about voodoo, but it's the voodoo, the hoodoo, the vodun. It's all the magic that's practiced down here, and you're not talking about. So when people go to New Orleans, and they go to like a magic shop, right? They'll go on Bourbon Street, be like, "I'm gonna go to the voodoo shop."
Yeah, the voodoo
That
shop.
ain't
Yeah,
that's not it.
that's
It's the
not it.
stuff
Yeah,
that the local people are doing and
yeah,
their families been doing for hundreds of years. You know what I'm saying? That opens up gateways and doorways and all kinds of stuff. And
yeah.
then you combine the fact that we have Mardi Gras, which
Mardi Gras.
is a time period where every freaking entity, every
Yeah,
fallen angel entity is celebrated, whether it be,
that's
Iris, Osiris,
yes,
Apollyon.
yes.
It's this place where a lot of stuff goes down, man.
Yeah, that's kind of like the Day of the Dead for us, Hispanics. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Where we channel the dead people in something else too. Some other things
Hmm.
that want to pop up. So that's basically what Mardi Gras is: celebration of dead people and dead souls and all kinds of crazy dead things.
Yeah, Mardi
It's
Gras is
crazy.
something else, bro. It's something
Yeah.
else. And so you have it. It's a part of the culture of the city. So you have a culture of a city that practice idolatry, um, in mass for a month. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
um, it's a city. It's a very very special place. It's a very very interesting place, and it's a very wicked place, and it's a very dark place. If you want to find darkness, you don't have to go too far; they'll find you. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. You know, I work in the refinery plants, right? And I'm gonna say about 8, 9 years ago, I went to I was getting a lot of jobs out there in Louisiana. So I've actually been there to your homeland, brother. I've been
Mm-hmm.
to New Orleans, right? And I was working right there. There's a little small town called Norco. I'm pretty sure you know where that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's by La Plaza. I think it's called La
Right
Plaza.
outside
Okay,
La Place, yeah.
right. Oh, well, I was staying there. Man, I was hearing all kinds of creepy shit in that motel that I was staying in, man. And I'm pretty sure there was a lot of creepy stuff going around there too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying black magic or anything like that, but people got like crazy shit going on over there, bro. And I felt that vibe, you know what I'm saying? I felt that vibe. I wouldn't even come out of my room, bro. Like I would just in the morning when I go to work, after work, I go hit the gas station, Walmart, whatever I was gonna get, Popeyes or whatever I was gonna get, come back, and I would not go out to the next day, bro. I mean, and that's not me being scared because I carry my gun everywhere I go. It's
Mm-hmm.
just out of being smart and staying away from things that I'm not supposed to get myself into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
So
you over there in the swamps, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Like people don't understand, La Place is built on the
yeah,
swamps. That's why it
yeah,
floods every year. I mean, it's literally
yep.
built on the swamps.
That's right.
So you got New Orleans, which is a bowl like
And it's
this,
right
right?
next to New Orleans. Yeah.
Hmm. Then everything outside of that bowl is pretty much built on swamps.
Yep.
So anything outside of that bowl is swampland, and that's why when it starts to flood, that fills up first, and it pours into the bowl. Then the bowl starts to flood, and that's just how it works. It's surrounded by water on all sides, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I got an eerie vibe, and I didn't know that much, that I do now about the cryptids. Back then, I didn't know that much, of cryptids. I just, knew about the voodoo and the vampirism and people thinking they're real vampires, and people saying that there are actually real vampires, but they just don't make themselves known. And all that stuff, black magic and all that. I knew about that, but I didn't know anything about cryptids. I didn't know anything about, Rougarou. I didn't know nothing about that, man. This was like 9, 10 years ago, something like that. And but I did feel that vibe, bro. I was working there, Baton Rouge. Where else? Shit, what is it called? Right across Texas. What is that one?
Talking about Beaumont,
Yeah, no, St. Charles.
St. Lake Charles. I'm
Lake
sorry.
Charles, yeah, Lake Charles. There you go, yeah. So I was there. I went out there for about maybe 4 different jobs, and I liked it because I wanted to get to know Louisiana, how it was. You know what I mean? I always wanted to know what Louisiana was like. So yeah, but man, yeah, I felt that vibe, bro. It's definitely a creepy vibe over there, bro. I'll tell you that.
Well, people will tell you, man. They'll explain to you when you're coming into New Orleans. When you could take one of the bridges into New Orleans, once you get halfway point on that bridge, they'll tell you, man, it feels like everything's changed,
Yeah,
and it's because you're going into a different area. I mean,
yeah,
it's spiritually going into a different area, and
yeah.
that's
I
just how the
believe
city
that.
is, man.
I believe that, bro. I believe that. Yeah, yeah. And I went out to I even went out to the river because I wanted to see it in person, right? The Mississippi River that goes through there. I went out to the levees. I went out to where they got the statues and all kinds of stuff right there, right? They got a bunch
Hmm.
of statues there, especially like from the 1500s and all that, where the
Yeah, they got rid of
Spaniards
all those.
conquered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got rid of all those. They went
Oh,
woke and they
okay.
got rid of all the statues.
Okay, yeah, and then the ferries would go through there, through the channel, and man, I was like, dang, that was cool. I was astounded when I seen that. But yeah, it was crazy out there, brother. But hey, I got one more question, man, real quick. It says Carlito Castro, if you want to ask the classic question, Dark Waters, what do you think that Dogman and Bigfoot have binocular vision? That you know what? I've never really heard too much about that. I mean, I've heard of night vision and infrared, but what do you
I
think
think what he
about
means
that?
by binocular vision means that they have the ability to look at something
Zoom
closer from
in,
far, which is zoom in.
right?
I don't know.
Have
I
you ever
have
heard of
no
that?
clue. I haven't heard of it. I do know they have phenomenal eyesight at night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm not sure about that one. I mean, I don't know, bro. You
Yeah,
stumped me with that one.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And I think that's another the eye shine. I think that's what it is. You know how like lions and you know these nocturnal animals, when you shine a light at them, they got the eye. Well, what is it called? The eye shine, right? But
Mm-hmm.
that's because it's reflecting off that little green shield they have in there to look at night, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I would say they do. I mean, because I would just say they do, man, because you know how like dogs can see a lot further than we can, and that's their closest relative, the canine. You know, the canine. Wolves do too. All the canines have better vision than we do. You know,
Yeah,
a
but
lot
better
better vision.
vision and binocular vision are two different things. I will definitely admit they have better vision,
Well,
but
I
to use
mean,
the
I mean,
term
I mean to
binocular
say,
vision,
yeah. Well, I mean better vision. Well, I'm not gonna say binocular vision, but I know they got better vision where they can see further than we can. You
right?
know, that I know, you know, but I don't know how far they can see. That's the only thing. But yeah,
Nah, I
like
think you need to hunt one
eagles.
down and take their eyeballs and play with their eyes.
Yeah,
Anybody
there you
can get
go.
one and mess with their eyes, we'll figure it out. I'm not
Yeah,
going to get you to hunt it down. That don't make no sense, but
I
that's the
guess
only
I
way
guess I
to
guess we'll
find
get
out.
to that whenever we get like a body or something, right? And they actually, study the damn thing, right? And make it, something a known creature or animal or whatever, right? In the animal kingdom, then they can say if they have that. Cause like the eagle, you know how the eagle they do have binocular vision.
They
They can
really
see
do,
from,
yeah.
whoo, man, they can see from like half a mile. But yeah, man. Well, thank you, man. I know you got to do some things, DW. I appreciate you. So, we're at a 1 hour and 15 minute mark. So, man, I'm thinking that's all the questions that we have tonight, guys. It was kind of hard for me to keep up with all the questions and comments in the, in the conversation with you also, DW. But thank you, man. I just want to thank you so much for being here tonight, giving us your time, brother, your knowledge. Thank you. I really appreciate that, DW. And another thing I wanted to say is that, man, I'm so happy when you contacted me with West Vic that you wanted me to do an interview on your channel, man. I'm honored by that, man. Thank you. I didn't get a
No,
chance to
man,
tell you.
you're more than welcome, brother. My thing is this: like
I
when I first started in this, there were
mm-hmm,
very few people. It was so competitive that the only big people that would really give you an interview
mm-hmm.
was like a Vic, Brenton Salwin,
Yeah,
and so when people make it so competitive that they don't allow a person to have a voice,
right.
all it does is create contention and strife. So everybody has a standpoint, everybody has thought processes, everybody has things that they believe, and everybody should have an opportunity to speak to an audience and get their point out there, and then let the people decide. And so that's where I stand on it. If you notice, you go back and look, man, I probably interview more people from the Bigfoot and Dogman field than anybody.
Mm.
And I was interviewing people while I was going through my rapid growth. It wasn't like I waited. No, while I'm
Oh,
blowing up, I'm interviewing everybody. I'm giving people access to that exposure
oh,
because
okay.
that's how you make a field grow. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's how you
right,
help everybody else. So my
right.
thing is, I'm gonna help who I can help to get where they want to get to, so they can achieve their dreams and their goals, man.
Right, man, that's awesome, brother. I'm glad you think like that, man. If a lot more people thought like that, man, it'd be a great community, brother.
Well,
You
man,
know
I've
what I
been
mean?
blessed for it, man. I've been blessed for it. God has blessed me for it, and He continues to let me grow. And the channel is about to go through its next phase of exponential growth. I see it coming, and we're
Hmm.
just gonna keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Hell yeah, brother. Well, thank you very much, Dark Waters, man. I really appreciate you. Like I said, man, I can't thank you enough for being here tonight, bro, and giving us your input and ideas on things. And thank you for answering all the questions from the chat. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, brother. Got much love for you, man.
All right, man. Well,
Appreciate
I'll
that.
catch up with you later, brother.
Yes,
Thank you, ladies
sir.
and gentlemen. I appreciate spending some time with you guys.
Thank you,
All right,
bro.
man. Have a good night.
Good night, brother.
All right, good night.
Okay, guys, there it is. Just like I promised, DW on CPK, Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom. Wow, man, that what a way to end the year, huh? What a way to end the year, guys. Man, my mind is blown right now, man, with so much information and so many things that I didn't know up until now. 8 years being into cryptid research, man. That goes to tell you that you always learn something new. You always learn. There's no such thing as a know-it-all. And I hate know-it-alls. Y'all know I fucking hate know-it-alls. Because you don't fucking know it all. There's always something new to learn. So, yeah, that being said, guys, sorry I didn't want to go on a little rant there or anything like that. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for being here tonight, man. Thank y'all for making this a great show with all the great questions and the great comments. Thank you, each and every one of you in the chat, guys. And thank you, everybody watching the show that didn't come to the chat. Thank you anyways for being here. And yeah, man, I just want to say Happy New Year, everybody, man. Happy 2024, guys. Thank you, man. Thank y'all for spending your night here with me for a while at least. And, man, I can't thank y'all enough. And, yes, thank you for the 1,000 subscribers. Thank you, Oklahoma Nana. Yes. Congrats. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Marlene, thank you. First time I seen you here. Thank you for the congratulations. Thank you very much. Steve Riley, thank you, bro. Thank you for sticking in there, in the mod team. Thank you, man. Ant Rocks, thank you for coming by, brother. Thank you, Oklahoma Nana. You rock as always. Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, Abe, thank you, man, for coming, brother. Thank you. Al Sanariga, I think he just left. Had to go night. Thank you, Al, for being here tonight, brother. Appreciate you, man. Oscar, first time I seen you. Yeah, I seen you came in to check out DW. Thank you, Oscar, for coming, man. Thank you for joining. And yeah, guys, well, with this, I'm gonna wrap up the show, and this is gonna be the final show of 2023, guys. Yes, we made it. We're good. We're going good, and we're going strong, man. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight, and we will see you back next year, 2024. I can't promise y'all anything, but I'm gonna try within the first 2 weeks of January to get another show going, and I will let y'all know on the group, Crypto and Paranormal Kingdom group in Facebook, and as much group as I can, I'll try to post it there too. Thank you, guys. I can't thank y'all enough, man. Y'all made it that much more great for me. Being here tonight, thank you, guys. From the bottom of my heart, man. Love y'all, man. Much love for every one of y'all. Thank you, guys. And yes, please remember to subscribe. Tell your friends, share on your Facebook groups, whatever you need to do, and whatever you do helps out with the with the algorithm, and it does help. It does every like helps, every comment helps. So please do so. Thank you, guys. And with that, I'm gonna end tonight's show, guys. And yes, thank you, Steve, for that comment, man. Thank you. Yeah, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna end the show tonight. Thank you guys for coming by, man. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, I hope the Cowboys make it, man. I hope they make the playoffs. The last game wasn't too good, but yeah. Thank you, Abe Sears. Thank you, brother, for being here tonight. Awesome show, brother. Thank you, bro. Thank you, everybody. And with that being said, Carlito Castro signing out. See you guys in 2024, guys. Love y'all. Much peace and much love to everybody, man. Thank you. Good night. Bye. See y'all on the next one.